Today is a big day. Today I'm finally starting to work on my wood stove. Having a wood stove in a workshop has been a dream of mine since I've got a workshop, and finally it's gonna become a reality. I have done so much research on the wood stove, on how to make them safe and how to make them efficient, and I have designed my own, what I think kind of a perfect wood stove. I have counted all the dimensions and the volume to make sure that it fits my place, so I think I'm just gonna jump right into it and I'll tell you more about it as we move along. Most of the stoves that you can buy in the store are made from 3mm steel, and I decided to go with 4mm because it's a little bit more rigid and it doesn't get warped as much as 3mm, so 4mm is the way to go for me. That's where we're at right now. The stove is starting to take shape. So imagine if it stands like it should be, upside down, and the fire is burning inside, and the chimney is right there at the end of the stove. And what this piece does, let's call it a fire deflector. It deflects the flame from entering the chimney. So rather than burning inside of a chimney, the flames just deflects and only the smoke is entering the chimney and the chimney is not overheating. The deflector should be about 2/3 of the length of the stove, and it should be pointing down on a slight angle like this. And at the very end, where it's supposed to be touching the back wall, there should be like 5-7 mm of a gap, because otherwise if the air is entering somewhere around this area, it could get drafted straight to the chimney and there won't be much fire happening in the back side of the stove. But with the little gap in the end, you can allow some air to pass through this area as well, and it's gonna help the fire to burn properly. Here is the bottom section. This is where the firewood is going to be. Here is where the air is going to enter inside of a stove. This thing here is made from cast iron. You can buy those things in hardware store. They're quite cheap, and cast iron is very good because it's not gonna burn through as quick as the steel. Here we're gonna have a tray for the ashes, and the tray is also going to be an adjustment of how much air is getting into the stove from here. We have a hole right there at the end, and this little like shield prevents ashes to falling into the bottom straight away, and also acts like a channel for the air. And the air is coming from here and helps the fire burn better. And we also have 2 air injectors right here above the fire deflector. So the air comes in here and comes out of those little holes. Those holes are located in that position to ignite the secondary fumes, let's say, and this extra ignition increases the power of the stove. So next I'm gonna work on the front panel here, and then on the side we're also gonna have some metal screens, and those screens are gonna work as the convectors, but I'm gonna tell you about this later. So you may be wondering about these flat pieces of bar. They are here to introduce more surface area for the air to heat up. And the way it's gonna work is like this. This area will be like super hot. And because of the convection, the cold air is gonna come inside here and go through all this heated area and exit out from here, and hopefully it will be heated. So it's like a convection wood stove, as well as the heat radiation that's coming from the heated metal. Whew, here we go. Just installed the pipe. It was hell of a tough job. It is 4.5 meters long. I don't know if you can tell, but between those two concrete walls, we have about 50 centimeters of space, and I have to really squeeze myself to work here. But I have installed two of these brackets that I've welded yesterday. They support the pipe, and we also have a couple more fixing points like here, and one on the top. And it goes straight into my shop. We have a little lid here that I can open and check the pipe, and there is this little nipple, and this nipple allow for the excess condensate or extra like water that gets into the pipe from the top to drip out. Let's get out of here. This is it on the top. Nice and beautiful pipe. A couple of stretches to keep it in place. I know I didn't film the installation, but it was hell of a tough job. I have to climb like from this roof onto that roof and into that little space there, but we have the pipe. So it's going to be a test launch of this guy. We have a couple of bits of 2x4s inside. I am beyond excited right now. I don't know really what to expect. I haven't used the wood stove in a very long time. We have the fire extinguisher in the house just in case, and let's just get it running. I think you can see how good the draft is. It's a lot of smoke inside, but barely any of the smoke goes inside. I'm happy about that so far. Let's close the door. I don't know if you can hear, but it sounds like a turbo engine. That's cool. That's how the control works. I can open up and it burns like insane because so much air comes in. And I can close it all the way down and it burns slowly and nicely. So I've just realized that I didn't show you the construction of the door. It's pretty simple. The locking mechanism is just a hook like this that hooks up this little piece of bar. And it locks in place really nice and tight, and it's so nice and sealed up because of this lip around the hole, and that lip comes into this gasket. That's a special asbestos gasket for the stoves. You can buy it in any hardware store. That's a special fireproof glass. You can see here that between the glass and the metal is another asbestos gasket. I've been testing the stove for a few days and I'm really loving it. I think let's just fire it up and see what kind of temperature it could give us. I have this little infrared thermometer and we can test the temperatures. So let's fire it up. Plus 6 degrees, the time. So it's been about 20 minutes from the start. The fire is burning really good. I've closed down the tray a little bit and I've closed the chimney halfway. We are having about 334 degrees, 35. Let's see if we can actually make some brew. Remember I told you about the convection panels on the side? Check this out. You see that? So it's been over an hour since we started the stove. The temperature in the shop plus 20, which I think is kind of good, but I think the thermometer might be too close to the stove. But it is very warm here and I feel very comfortable and I don't have to wear an extra jacket. We even have a little moth flying around. I think he woke up because of the heat. He probably thinks that it's summer already. I am very stoked on my stove, to say the least. I hope you're gonna like the video. It's been a very expensive project for me, so consider checking out my Patreon and subscribing to the channel if you're not already. I think in future I might boost it up with some air blowers to get more air to pass through the convection panels, or maybe adding a heat exchanger, or maybe I will add a heat exchanger and connect it to the little radiator and put it inside of a clean booth that I have here in the shop. But that's some stuff for the future. But for today it's gonna be it, and I'll see you in the next one.